Hey. I am so excited today to be talking about something. And what is it? What is it? We're gonna be talking about something that um is an issue that ails us all. Sorry, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Mm, okay. Okay. So we're gonna be talking about codependency today. Such an exciting topic because, like I said, it is something that ails us all. It is simply when we rely on something outside of us, okay? When we give our power away to something outside of us. And this can be anything. So let me just get it up. Specifically what it is, because I've made notes, okay? Your girl is coming with notes. Okay. This is a separate one. So there's these are the notes from a book called yeah, I do like to go topic wise. I mean, I do like to start with some sort of topic. Sometimes I mean, most of the time, every single time it goes off track, but that's okay because I'm happy to go with the flow of things. But I would really love to talk in depth about codependency because codependency is something that has been, sorry, just give me a second, has been an issue in my life. Something that I really had to, you know, come to terms with because it was affecting all of my relationships. The thing I want you to understand is the way you relate to one thing is the way you relate to everything because that is just the way that you relate. Period. Does that make sense? So the way that I relate, like my relationship with my mother, will be of a similar flavor as to money or to my looks or to people or to my identity, right? Because codependency is when you are dependent on something outside of you for your identity. And this can be money, looks, a partner, your family relationships. It's when we give our power away to someone outside of us. We feel responsible for someone, okay? And let me give a little bit of a background story. Why is my nose always gets so itchy when I go on live? Um, I used to be very codependent, okay? I used to be codependent with my mother. I mean, pretty much everyone and everything in my life, okay? Because I grew up feeling not enough, and then it meant that, I felt that I had to perform, right? How often do we feel like we have to be someone else to feel special? That we have to do something to get some sort of recognition. I know I definitely did. I would try to prove myself constantly by overworking, trying to achieve the best grades, being the best cleaner, being the best daughter, trying to be this obedient, subservient, good girl, right? And then I would want something in return because that's what codependency is. Codependency isn't love, okay? Because love is giving, love is acceptance. Codependency is I give, but I expect something back in return, okay? I'm going to give you this, I'm going to clean up, but I want to feel safe. A sense of safety from you. I want validation from you. I want approval from you. And when you don't get that from someone, then you're mad. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because there was a lady yesterday, Zubin, from the live, who brought up this, who said something, she said something like, I do things for everybody and I get nothing in return, and I was like, codependency right there, and I told her, and she was happy to understand because look, at the end of the day, how can you change if you don't know what the problem is? If I have a car, how can I fix it if I don't know what's wrong with it? If I don't understand it, right? So it's really important to understand these things. And yesterday I put, oh my god, my phone, Instagram is on my phone. It was a quote that said, accepting yourself. Oh god, okay, let me just quickly. Okay, just give me a sec. I don't know if you can say the quote is gone, but it was essentially talking about you can grow in line with the level at which you accept truths about you, okay? So the level at which, the depth at which you can accept things about you. So I accept the fact that I was being codependent? Yeah, I did, I had to accept that, because when I can accept that, once I read about it, I was kind of mind blown. Like, wow, this literally is the story of my life and the story of most people's lives, because most of us have awareness outside of us. Our attention is outside of us, right? If you are someone who cares a lot about what people think, you're codependent. If you like boundaries, you are codependent. If you are people pleaser, you are codependent. If you have an anxious attachment style, you are codependent. It's as simple as that. And like I said, this affects your relationship with everything. I mean, for example, with money, we severely misunderstand money in this day and age. It's done for a reason. It's because the system is built to make you think that money is scarce, that money itself represents value. Well, it does represent value, but that it's scarce and that you need to work really, really hard to get it. When you don't have to work really, really hard to get it, and you think that you have to do something. You think that, oh, I have to do loads to get money. But how many people oh my god. Sorry. Wow, I took a breath in the wrong way. But yeah, it doesn't have to be. Let me just get the notes up there, actually. It's because this is something that I learned. This course that I did, well, it was this call that I was listening to. Cracking down on codependency, that it was called. Okay. Okay. If you're a codependent, you create problems to try and fix in order to earn someone's love. Okay. So when it comes to money, you feel that you need to work hard for money, that it shouldn't come easy, which creates money blocks. Right? If you think about it, people with money and people without money have different mindsets, right? People with money believe that they are just worthy of money, right? If you were born into an affluent family, you will naturally believe, oh, okay, I'm worth money. Money comes easy. I don't have to toil and work hard for money, because you probably don't, because you're affluent, So you've gotten to a particular stage of thinking and perceiving the world. Whereas someone who may not come from that sort of background, they feel like money has to be you have to work hard for money. You have to do something to earn money. Does that make sense? So codependency is something that just, what's the word, like leaks into every area of your life, and it's something that really needs to be worked upon. I mean, the way that it was working in my life was that, for example, let's say I asked my sister to do something, okay? I'll say, can you please go and pick this up for me, or something like that? And she says no. I would be annoyed. I would be like, but I do all of this. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. For you, why can't you just do that for me? I would never accept people's no's. I wouldn't accept people's boundaries, because your girl didn't have any boundaries, How can I value boundaries, someone else's boundaries, if I don't have any, if I don't value my own, I didn't even know what boundaries were until I read Codependent No More, which is an amazing book if you are codependent. Because, look, in life, people take as much as they can, okay? People aren't going to be like, oh, we've taken enough from this person has done enough, let us just stop, let's just give them a break. No. What you'll find is that people will take advantage. You allow high money, yeah, get the penny out. People will just, it's human nature, right? We like to take as much as we can. So with that being said, you create the rules, okay? No one treats you in a way that you are not allowing them to treat you, okay? Does that make sense? So you give people the permission to treat you in a certain way. So if there is someone who has really strong boundaries, and the thing is, with boundaries, it's an energy, okay? You don't even need to speak your boundaries sometimes. All you need to do is just have that energy, because that energy of someone who has boundaries is like, the person who doesn't have boundaries is like, yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, you want the, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, okay, whatever. Do you see the difference? I wouldn't ask someone who looks like they have strong boundaries to do something. Or if I do ask them to do something, I will respect their no. You know, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to get on the wrong side of this person, because what does this person do? They value themselves. They respect themselves. And what, like, where does that come from? That comes from knowing that you are worthy without having to prove yourself. You cannot be your most authentic, highest self if you are codependent. Because, I live in England. Because, like I said, codependency breeds people pleasing. And what is people pleasing? People pleasing is a trauma response. You have fight, you have flight, you have fawn, and you have freeze. Fawn. People pleasing. I don't feel safe enough being me. I need to make you happy, or I need to please you so I can feel safe. That is what people pleasing is. It's a literal trauma response, okay? You're in your survival state if you are in that thing. What is my secret for happy living? My secret for happy living? Remember God. Remember God in everything, okay? See God in everything, because when I see and remember God all the time, then I see that, okay, there is a higher purpose to everything happening, because I know God is wholly benign. God loves me. God has my back, okay? I'm God's favorite child. Everybody is, okay? But it's in my world, I'm God's favorite child, okay? And I am everybody, so we're all, we're all his favorite, her favorite, okay? So yeah, remember God in everything, because anything that happens, for example, someone says something to me that is mean or something, I'm like, oh, it's God, it's okay. Why am I gonna attack them? Like, I'm not gonna get defensive. I'm just like, this is God, it's okay, etc., etc. So yeah, remember God in everything and be grateful for everything. Because what gratitude is gratitude equals acceptance, and then this means you give up resistance. And when we give up resistance to something, when we stop labeling it as something, then we allow it to become something else. And hi everybody, मैं हिंदी बोल सकती हूँ. Hi Rick, आप कैसे हो? हम बहुत अच्छे हैं. Come online every day, you can learn to live happy. Yes, exactly. ठीक हो? चढ़ती कला. आज का लाइव में क्या करोगी प्रिया? आज के live, yesterday I judged you for your accent and like to apologize. I checked out many of your videos and they're amazing. I'm so glad to go across your channel. I just got the notification and catch it right now. I'll definitely get back for those positivity. That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, Charity Kalam, guys. Look, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm kidding. I saw this post about angel numbers and how they're like a westernized evil thing. So I don't know what to make of them anymore, but it's okay. I digress. Today I was talking about codependency, guys, because codependency, like I was saying, it's something that is an issue for all of us, and sometimes we don't know it is, okay? Because we aren't taught to be in our most authentic selves, okay? We are usually taught that who you are is not okay, right? What our parents say, oh no, you must dress like this, you must talk like this, you must say this, or hide this about yourself. Things like that. You're amazing in expressing your words. Thank you, Donald. I appreciate you. Hi, Dr. K. But yes, so, we're not encouraged to be our authentic selves. So what do? We have this facade, right? We have these different parts to us, because the mind is not a mono mind, okay? The mind has lots of different aspects of it. So your authentic voice, the authentic self's voice is very dimmed. The other voices are very loud, okay? Because they're validated. Because Priya, who goes out into society, who is polite and obedient and wonderful and amusing and pleasing is accepted. So she gets lots of validation, right? So she thinks, oh, okay, I must only be like this. I cannot speak my truth. I cannot tell someone no when I want to say no. Does that make sense? Being codependent means you don't have boundaries. And not being able to say no is a byproduct of that, right? Boundaries is like, no. Could you do this for me? No. And like a sweet, no, not like, no. Just like, no, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like going out today. I don't feel like doing all your extra work today. I don't feel like doing this. What's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is, okay, fine. Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. And then what happens? You become resentful. You become bitter. And that affects your body, okay? What will you tell people who don't want to live in India? I like to live in the USA. What you suggest to me? What can I suggest? I would suggest accepting it, because if you can't accept something, then you create resistance around it. You don't allow it to change into something else. Why don't you focus on what it is that's great about India? And focus on that and be grateful for that. What I found is that gratitude is a secret tool that you can use to change your life, okay? Be grateful. God put you there for a purpose, right? You, in fact, chose to live there. I don't know if you were born there, Donald. Were you born there? But it happened for a reason. You're living there. Your soul wanted to be there. There is something to learn. There is something to experience. So embrace it. Okay, we mustn't label things good or bad, and I get it. Okay, I get it. It's easy for me to say I don't live there, and there are of course many problems that come there, but there are many problems that come in many different places. Oftentimes we think the grass is greener on the other side, and it's not always. It's about you and how you see it. Change the way you are, change the way you see things, and then life will change. And then as soon as you let go of that resistance to, okay, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, who knows? Maybe you'll just be somewhere else, because you've let go of that resistance. You're not holding on so tightly anymore. Okay, don't ever say something bad about my country. Yeah, India's great. I love India. You're English, your dress won't suit. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, so I made some notes about codependency. I'm a medical professional and I'm not recognized and valued here. My life is not as expected to me. I'm a medical professional. Are you not recognized for being the medical professional that you are? Let me ask you, do you recognize yourself? Do you value yourself? That's something that can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but what I love to do is always turn it back to you. Always turn it back to you. In fact, there's something that I'm Indian. I was born in India, but I moved from India when I was very young. I was 3 when I moved out. Okay, listen to this. Anything you say to someone else, you could turn around and say it to you, and it would always be applicable, because people are mirrors. They reflect who we are. So if there are people in your life who don't recognize you and value you, oh, thank you, Ben, I love you too. They don't value you and they don't recognize you. Do you recognize yourself? I had this, I would always think, oh, so-and-so doesn't recognize me, so-and-so doesn't value me. Like, for example, there was a situation with my sister where I thought that my twin sister, you guys have probably, I love you all. With my twin sister, there was a time in the past where I was learning about codependency, and I remember thinking, oh, okay, I feel like she doesn't value me. I feel like she values other people more than me. And then there's a process by Byron Katie. Okay, let me just how do I turn this? Is it plugged in? Why is it not on? Come on, honey. Let me turn this on, because there's a process that I'm going to go through with you that if you can learn, okay, come on. Okay. Brilliant. Now we're gonna get the screen up and running, and then we can go through it. And of course, you're so welcome, Donald. Oh my god, your accent is so much cool. Thank you. Yeah, you become better when you embrace the way you're going in life. Exactly. Exactly. Are your family chain or descendants still here? Yes, they are. Punjab. From Punjab. Punjabi girl. क्या हो रहा है? आओ ना. जाग जाओ मेरी जान. I'm trying to. Okay, you know what? Let me just go on my phone. We'll get it up. And Katie. Okay, so Byron Katie is this lady. Okay, so yes, I am in England. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this quickly. Okay, and then I'm gonna read the comments. Byron Katie is someone that you can go to. So she created something called The Work. The Work consists of 4 questions that you ask yourself about any thought that you have, okay? Please tell me the questions by Byron Katie and give me an example of working through her question. So you know what? We're gonna do Donald's question. Is that your name, Donald? Or was it Anna? Donald Cooper. I'll just call you Donald since it's Donald. Of working through a belief. I am not recognized or valued in my country. And let's turn it around, okay? So we're gonna go through this, okay? And this is something that you guys can do for yourself. This is something that I've told so many people about, and it works every time for them. Let me give you a little backstory, okay? Everybody listen, because this is super important and this is going to help you. So Byron Katie was a lady who had severe mental issues, okay? She was severely depressed and anxious to the point at which it was no longer safe for her children to be around her in their home. So she got taken to a psych ward, I believe, or some mental institution. In the mental institution, she was sitting there, right? And, you know, she's losing her home. Her health is going downhill. She can't be with her children. You know, it's a very difficult place to be. So she had this epiphany, this moment of insight, you know, and she thought, is my suffering due to my thoughts? And then she realized, yeah, because if I believe my thoughts, if I think they're true, then it causes me suffering. So what happened was she created these questions that she can ask herself, that you can ask yourself about any thought in life, okay? And then you can work through it. It's a process of self-inquiry, okay? And then what you'll realize is that your thoughts and believing your thoughts are the cause of your suffering. Okay, we're gonna work through it, okay? Because Donald said, you know, his belief is, I am not recognized or valued in my country, right? I don't know if he meant specifically as a medical professional, but we're gonna go with that, okay? I am not recognized or valued in my country. So the 4 questions, I'll run you through what they are. What you need to ask yourself when you have a stressful thought: is it true? Can you absolutely know it's true? Is it 100% fact? Then you ask yourself, how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? Then you ask, who would you be without that thought? So, example, the belief being, I am not recognized or valued in my country. Is it true? Yes, it feels true. I don't see people acknowledging my worth, right? This may be what Donald may be thinking. Then you ask yourself, Donald, can you absolutely know that it's true? Can I absolutely know that it's true that I am not recognized or valued in my country? No, right? It's not 100% fact. I can't absolutely know that. Maybe some people recognize me, but I don't see it. Or maybe it's not their role to give me recognition. Number 3, how do you react when people believe that thought? Donald, you probably feel small and invisible. You probably compare yourself to others. You probably resent your country and you feel like you don't belong there. And you shut down instead of shining, right? It's not very nice to have that you're not recognized. What kind of worth are we talking about here? Okay, so I'll just catch everybody up. We are talking about a belief that Donald from the chat, put in. Okay, his belief was that he doesn't feel, no, not Donald Trump. If you just scroll up, you'll see Donald George Anno, I believe. He said, he was asking about advice living in India, and he said, I don't feel like I'm recognized or valued in my country. So what I'm doing is I'm going through this process called the work. Okay, it's a process of self-inquiry, and what you do with the self-inquiry is you ask yourself questions based on a stressful thought that you're having. So you have a thought. His thought was, I'm not recognized or valued in my country. We are going to inquire that thought, okay? So the first thing you ask yourself is it true? Is the thought true? And yeah, it may feel true. He may see people not acknowledging his worth, right? Can you absolutely know that it's true? Can you know 100% that it's true? You can't, right? You just can't absolutely know that. Maybe people recognize him, but he doesn't see it. Maybe it's not their role to give him recognition. Why do we expect that from people? Right? That's also a form of codependency. You want something outside of you. You need recognition. You need people to see you. You need their validation. So, the next question is, number 3, how do you react when you believe that thought? How do you react when you believe the thought, I am not recognized and I am not valued in my country? He probably feels small and invisible. He probably compares himself to other people. He probably resents his country and feels like he doesn't belong. He probably shuts down instead of shining, right? So the fourth question that you ask yourself is, who would you be without that thought? Who would Donald be without the thought, I'm not recognized or valued in my country? He'd probably feel lighter and freer. He'd be focused on his gifts instead of who's watching. He'd already feel valued by life itself. He'd be open to creating opportunities instead of waiting for recognition, right? Do you guys see how magic that was? That we just took a thought that he had and then we inquired it. Because if you inquired every single thought that you had, you would get to the point where you would be like, well, why do I keep talking rubbish? Why do I keep talking really badly about myself? Why do I keep saying untruths? Because it's not true. It's not 100% fact that he is not recognized or valued in his country, right? So, okay, this is just applying it to me. The thing is, what you can do if you don't want to sit down and journal this out. So what I would say is get the 4 questions up. You can just type it into ChatGPT, or you can just put it into Google and just say, what are Byron Katie's 4, let me go on my live. I'm going to pin it, okay? Why is this not working? Honey, come on. How much turn you on? Where's the on button? Okay. There you are. You might get to alchemize the thought. Yeah, exactly. Donald will be friends with someone who value him. Exactly. You might get, yeah, it's alchemy, right? It's literal alchemy. You're taking something that seems so negative and then you're turning it around, because the thing is, you don't even have to pay much attention to it, to be honest. There's not much you need to do other than to really deeply inquire about it, and then you see that it was wrong all along. And think about how many thoughts that you have that are like that. How many thoughts that you have that are not the truth, but you believe them and then you get sad. For example, you could hi, I'm from England. Journalism will be very helpful to find out the problems. Exactly. It is a little bit like journalism. This is why it is incredibly important for you to know yourself, to explore, to have time by yourself, to be in solitude, to see who you are. Because look, There are different stages, okay? This was a stage that I went through where I would, get my thoughts and I would work through them, okay? I would work through them. But there are different paths. This isn't the only path that you can walk through. The other thing that I always talk about, right, that I spoke about on my live yesterday was listening. If Donald just sat there and said this thought, okay, say it out loud, right? Because a lot of thoughts, they go unnoticed because they're not out loud. So with all your thoughts, say them out loud. And then listen to yourself. Maybe record yourself saying all of your thoughts. So Donald's sitting there saying, oh, I'm not valued or recognized in India. I just don't feel like I belong here. And then just quiet down. And then just listen. The thing is, the more you connect to your ability to just listen, the more you understand that who you are, who you truly are, your true nature is quiet, it doesn't say anything, then you don't even need to go through this process. Because then you would be here for a very, very long time, right? You would be going through every single thought. Of course, this is great, and if it works for you, take it, But it's not something that you need to be doing all the time. You get to a point, I have, where I can just be like, okay, I'm just going to listen to the thought. Because there's lots of wisdom in silence. And just listening. Have you ever heard drunk people arguing? Tell me. Or just listen to people arguing and then you're completely neutral. You're just sitting there and you're looking at them and you're like, whoa. You are being crazy right now. You're not even listening to each other. You're not hearing each other. You're confusing each other. There's miscommunication. That's one of the things I used to hate, miscommunication. It would irk me. It would really, really irk me. To see that. Just give me a second. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it would irk me. So miscommunication is happening all the time because we are deaf. We're not really listening. We don't really hear people. We only have an inner, an internal dialogue going on. Like right now, if I stop speaking, there's probably things going on in your head, right? Even when I'm talking and you're trying to listen, there's a voice. There are two voices, right? I mean, there's probably more than that. There's my voice that you can hear, and there are voices over in you. Speaking. Oh my god, she's saying this. Oh my god, this is wrong. Oh my god, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Oh god, Jesus Christ is God. Put your faith in Jesus. Okay, thank you. Jesus loves me, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm sure Jesus loves us all. Jesus was a very loving individual, right? Okay, so I was going to, let me go on my live, and then I'm going to put in, and we're going to, so that you can, it'll be from my, oh god, this is my sister's account. Let me go on my Chrome. Chrome is mine. I have to verify it's me. Why? Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, yes, it's me. Okay. Hi, my name is Priya. Hi, what you mentioned is amazing. I was wondering if you could just suggest something about how to listen to people or be mindful when you are provoked. Okay, interesting. Love that question. I'm so glad that what I'm saying is helping you. Okay. How to listen to people. You can listen. It's about developing your ability to listen, right? And so if you can develop your ability to listen to yourself, naturally your ability to listen to people will also get better, right? So meditation is amazing for that. Sorry, just give me a second. Meditation is amazing for that. Or just sit quietly. Just with no distractions, do nothing, listen to nothing, read nothing, just sit, just be. Sit for half an hour if you can. And what you'll hear is it sounds like two people having a conversation, maybe even more in your mind, okay? And you don't want to, you just want to listen. You want to witness, okay? You want to notice. And then you're going to be like, whoa, the voices in here sound crazy. But you're developing your listening skills. Also, another thing that is really, really useful is, oh my god, did I just create a passkey? Okay, interesting. Let me just write that down. Sorry, I had to like write my passwords down because, I mean, actually, okay. Okay, we're in. So I just want to quickly tag, please tell me it's logged in, please. Okay, because I want to tag Byron Katie, okay? I want you to remember who that is. So if you need to go and refer to that, you can refer to that. And I'm going to put the questions as well. Hi, I am Indian, that's why. A minion. Okay. Okay, Byron Katie, the work. Okay, boom. Pin message, okay? So, controlling your mind is something very difficult, but you can manage it by training. You know, I wouldn't even call it trying to control it. I think if you can try to witness it, just witness, just notice it. That kind of helps you gain control over it, right? A little bit, because I don't know if you've ever done, but in meditation, when you begin to notice your thoughts, you see that they disappear, that they're like, whoa, okay, you look at, your focus goes onto them, it's like, pff, gone. Another one comes, you notice it, pff, gone, right? So the more you are focused, the more you are aware, the more you are observing, the less thoughts you have, because they're just like, oh, pff, gone, disappear. Nice. Physiotherapist, love that. Controlling it. Okay, this is something new. I will try to listen to myself, process my thoughts, whatever comes to my mind. Good. I love to hear that. Honestly, your life will improve in every single way. When you can listen to yourself, when you can be in your inner world, everything improves. And being codependent is where you lack being in your inner world. You are out here, okay? How often are you out here? You're thinking, oh my god, what's this person thinking? What's this person thinking? What's my mom thinking about this? What's my partner thinking? Oh my god. Well, you know, what will society say, right? That's like one of our favorite sayings in the Asian community. What will people say? Log kya kahenge? Right? And it's codependency. The idea of being the watcher of your thoughts can be confusing thought at first. It really means just to be aware of your thoughts, not observe yourself thinking thoughts. Exactly. Hey, Greg. How are you? Don't care about what people say. Exactly. You know, people are just you anyway. I feel like life is a really crazy trip. You know, when you take some sort of psychedelic, or I don't know, you smoke weed or something, you get high and you go on this trip. I feel like when you're on psychedelics, that is the true reality of life. And right now, this is, wait, yeah, we think we're tripping, but we're seeing the reality of life. Whereas right now, this is really tripping. Does that make sense? How about taking a step back and actually hearing what someone has to say rather than taking things personally? Exactly. Just do what you see, the right thing, and don't hesitate. You know, what you have a time, don't waste your time on YouTube. What's where would you rather I waste my talent, or I mean, channel my talent, not the front door? Okay, yeah, I mean, of course, you know, it's not, psychedelics aren't something that you have to get into or anything. They're not important, but they just provide a different experience. It's just something that I realized when I had taken them, that everybody is you, okay? That's the crazy trip about life. Everybody is you. You talking to someone else, you're talking to yourself. you know, I saw this post that says, actually I've posted it on my Instagram, so if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because I don't even have it Instagram. Let me download it, okay, because I should probably have it on this phone. I have two phones. I use one one for my content, because I just didn't want it Instagram, but I may as well just get it, right? But yeah, it said that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between you and someone else. So if I say something to one of you guys, okay, I say you suck, I'm saying it to myself. The subconscious hears it and it's like, oh, Priya, you just said you suck. But if I say I love you, I think you're great, you know, I love this and this about you, I support you, you're valued, then it thinks I'm saying it to myself. Right? How beautiful is that? So in life, when people are saying things to you, when people are judging you, they're labeling you, they're criticizing you, they're saying it to themselves. That's where it comes, right? That's where it comes out. Because the way we speak to ourselves is the way that we speak to other people. Okay, which is the type of study you have? I don't have, I just study loads of different things. I don't really have any one specific type of study. Oh, Toddy, oh no, I don't want to download. Okay. OnlyFans a great way to channel talent. Interesting. Okay, I have to consider that. Psychedelics is a trip inside a trip, means life is a huge ass trip and we have never experienced the actual reality. Yes, Sarah, correct. Do I like Andrew Tate? I don't really I used to see a lot of videos and content about him, but I don't really engage with him. I'm not interested. What is your account? My account is Scorpio Sage 8, so it's the same as my YouTube is. So let me just pop that on there so I can just pin that so you guys can know. Instagram, my Instagram, Scorpio Sage 8. Oops, spell it correctly. Boom. Okay. Do you know Lara Raj? I do not know Lara Raj, no. Do I like cooking? I do like cooking. Yeah, cooking is fun. Oh my god, this one time I was making pasta when I was younger, and my sister, I was making it with my twin sister. We were cooking together, and then she put the sauce, the tomato sauce in before it was meant to go in, and I called my mom and I was crying because I was just so invested in the pasta, and it had to be perfect. But I don't think I'm like that anymore. I've learned to relinquish control. That's another thing. You know, everything comes back to codependency, funnily enough, because codependency is just a way of relating to life, okay? Essentially, it is where you are externally referenced, okay? So there's something called being internally referenced and being externally referenced. When you are internally referenced, what happens is that you're like, oh, okay, no, I think this way. Okay, these are my feelings, these are my desires. So let's say everybody is saying, oh, this is this doesn't have water in it, this has, I don't know, vodka in it, okay? If I'm internally referenced, I will look at it and be like, you know what? No, I don't really care what you guys think. I know it's water, right? If I was externally referenced, I would be like, oh, okay, everyone's saying it's vodka. Maybe it's vodka. It must be vodka. I mean, why would everybody else say it? Does that make sense? So being externally referenced is where you take others' opinions you give too much weight to them. Being internally referenced means that you trust your own feelings, your own desires, your own thoughts, your own intuition. And of course, in life, it's important to have a balance, okay? So we don't just want to be one way or the other. Okay, I don't know how, but if a man live stream like that, he's watching will be less than 10. If a girl, the biggest sample is you, is bitter truth, actually. See, with Andrew Tate, I just don't know enough. I have nothing to say. Okay, I don't. Okay, Mr. Nandu is not happy that I'm getting views. Surely able to do fish and chips. Okay, interesting. Let's keep the conversation to codependency. Okay. Just give me a second. I'm just logging into my thank you. Hi. Just into my Instagram so I can read. What did I want to read? Oh, that post. It's okay. You know, we'll do this later. You know, he's actually raising money in various regions of the needed territory in Africa. That's nice. I love that. You know, the thing is with people, right? People are people, okay? There is no one that's a good person and no one that's a bad person. You can't even label people like that. And trust me, when we label someone, oh, this person's a good person or this person's a bad person, you cement them into that. You put them into this prison of where they can only be that. You remove any space of them being anything different. For example, with my brother, you know, he would game a lot, right? And we would all, like, as a collectively, as a family, we would be worried about him. We would be saying, oh my God, he games too much. What will he do with his future? He's going down the wrong path, etc., etc., okay? So we didn't expect much of him. We used to worry about him and we used to expect the worst from him, okay? But you know, I decided at one point, I learned about this, about my expectations of people, my assumptions about people, and how that manifests. So then I decided, okay, you know what? Let me change how I feel about him. Let me tell a new story about him. So now the story I tell about him is that he's great. He's wonderful. He's incredibly intelligent. He will be successful. He's wonderful. You know, I'm happy with what he's doing. You see, so eradicating worry, okay? Because this is something that comes into this actually. When we worry about people, we do it because we feel codependent, okay? Because you feel responsible for other people when you're codependent, right? So if you're worrying about them, you're doing it because you feel responsible for them. You feel like if you don't worry about them, then you're doing something wrong. Like I used to think like that. I used to think, oh, if I'm not worried about so like let's say someone is unwell in my family or something, and then I'm not worried, that means I don't care about them. But that's not the case. I can care without being worried, and that's what God does, okay? Everybody says, oh, you know, so many bad things are happening in life. Why does God not care? Why is God not worried? Why is God not intervening? Well, God cares, but God isn't worried. And the two can exist, you know? It can be you can care but not worry, because you're not being aggressive. You're not forcing yourself upon someone. So rather than worrying about someone, because what you give lots of strong emotional energy to, you manifest for other people. Does that make sense? So negative emotions are much stronger, okay? Emotionally, they have a stronger emotional charge. So if I worry about one of you, right? If I'm like, oh my God, I'm really worried about Greg and Greg's health, I hope he's okay, oh my God, what if this happens, oh my God, what if this happens, then I'm manifesting illness for Greg. Mothers do this a lot. Mothers with their children, you know, where they are worried about their children, about their child being unwell, and they become really protective. Well, if you look, it is the mothers who are very, very protective that usually tend to have children who tend to be more unwell, who tend to be more sick, right? Because they've manifested that for them. So you worrying about someone is you feeling responsible for them, and then you not trusting in God and you being codependent. Let it go. Trust that God takes care of everybody. Yes, God's I'm glad to hear it, Greg. I'm glad to hear it, and I'm sure you always will be, okay? He's giving people around me easily while I'm working hard, but he's not blessing me anyways. Okay, interesting. See, I'm glad that the meaning of my channel name. Oh, okay, so I'm a Scorpio. That's just my star sign. And a sage is someone who is like a wise woman. Okay, but Likon edits. Okay, so Very interesting what you're saying there. See, that is your perspective, and that is what you're going to continue to manifest. Is that true? Is God really giving everybody around you easily, but not you? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put this into Byron Katie, okay? Byron Katie's process is going to help you, okay? So one of my viewers has a belief. The belief is that God is giving people around him easily, I guess, a thing, success, whatever, whilst he is working his but he's not blessing him. Okay, cool. Right, we're gonna please go through the process of Byron Katie. Okay, we're gonna break this belief down that you have, and then I'm going to show you why it's not truth. And then hopefully you will allow that to enter your psyche and change you and think differently, thus experience a different reality. Oh my god. Please go through Byron Katie process. Dip, 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 dip. Is it your Vedic sign? No, it's not my Vedic sign. It's my it's sidereal astrology. I am Indian. Yep. How many what's up, love? India. Okay. Okay. So okay, we're still gonna go through this. Okay. So the belief was of Lincoln. God is blessing others easily, but not blessing me. Okay. Is it true? Yes, it feels true. I see other people getting opportunities, money, or relationships effortlessly while I struggle. That's probably what you believe, right? Number 2, can you absolutely know that it's true? Is it true, absolutely, factually, that God is blessing others easily but not blessing you? No, you cannot absolutely know that it is the truth. Maybe their lives aren't as easy as you imagine. Maybe you are being blessed in ways that you don't see yet or acknowledge. Maybe the timing of your blessings is different. So how do you react? How do you react when you believe this thought that God blesses other people easily and not me? You probably feel jealous. You probably feel angry at God. You probably feel overlooked. You probably compare yourself constantly, even more so, because this is comparison, right? You lose gratitude for what you do have. You feel like hard work is pointless. You may even stop trusting God, which means that your relationship with God is tampered with, right? Which means that your faith in life, how much joy is available to you, how much peace, how much abundance is available to you, is also withering, right? It's limited. There's a hindrance. So, question 4 that you can ask yourself: who would you be without that thought? You'd probably feel at peace with where you are. You trust your path and your timing. You'd see blessings in your life that already exist. You'd feel connected to God instead of resentful. You'd celebrate others' wins without feeling threatened. Now, Likon edits. I'll just call you edits. Likon. Okay, fine. I'll call you Likon. How does that make you feel? Has that changed things? Has that put things into perspective? You see how every little thought that we have, that you may have, that is very limiting, like that, can make you feel a particular type of way. But when you explore it, you just see you see for what it is. It's a lie. It's a lie that's contributing to your suffering. You don't have to believe every thought you have. In fact, all the negative beliefs that you have, they are not coming from God, okay? The things that come from God, the feelings that come from God, are always positive. They're always loving. They're always uplifting. They will never bring you down, because God isn't like that. And Ben Ofst, what is the name of the God you are speaking of? The only God that exists. I don't want to make this into a religious debate again, you know, because there is only one God. That is it. You can name God whatever you would like to name God, or, you know, whatever you feel comfortable with. But there's just one God, right? So, and hey, I'm Godly. Welcome. So you are telling me he's planning something for me, or it's not the right time currently, because trust me, I'm working really hard. Okay, you know what? working really hard. Maybe you have a script of what your life is meant to look like. You're like, God, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. I have to get this, I have to get this, I have to get this, I have to get this. Oh, it's not happening. Oh, you don't love me? You love everybody else, but you don't love me? You don't care about me? I'm not going to believe in you anymore. Right? That's probably what happens. But how often are you grateful for the things you have? You have a phone. You have access to the internet. You can speak English fluently. You know, you're educated. You're literate. I'm assuming you have access to clean water and food. You have a roof over your head. You have a healthy body, right? I'm assuming. Are these things not to be incredibly grateful for? You have a life. Look, the more you appreciate, the more that thing appreciates, right? When we talk about appreciation in finance, right, it's about increasing. So the more you appreciate something, the more you get. You're not appreciating things. You're not seeing what you already have. You are only looking at the things that you don't have. Kono, I'm here. Okay. Hi, welcome. I'm trying, okay? I try my best. Praise it, listen to us, we were all alive. Your accent is good. Thank you. But yeah, you need to focus on the things that you already have, okay? Focusing on things that you don't have, there's plenty of them. I could do that, right? I could sit here and be like, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, oh my god, I don't have this, you know, things should be happening this way. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a spoiled child a little bit, no? I'm working really hard, I deserve it, you know, and I say that respectfully, okay? And I say that in a way that is really animated because I want you to see what it sounds like. Sometimes we don't see what we are being like, right? What we are speaking like. You can be both, have a roof and be sad. Of course you can. Of course you can. You can. But sadness is an emotion that will pass, right? It's temporary. Don't over-identify with the emotion because that's not who you are. Of course, Dudley. Everybody, you know, just because you have certain things. For example, I'm not saying that the wealthiest of people don't have problems. They don't feel emotions. Of course, that's such a human thing, you know? The more you have, the more problems you have, kind of thing. You know? But it's about understanding the truth of life and being grateful. Like, just imbuing yourself with this attitude of gratitude at all times. Yeah, thanks for your views, though. No worries. I hope it helped. I hope it helped. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. If not, I'm happy for you to ask more questions. If you feel like I'm not doing a good job, that's also okay. Yes, celebrities do garner a lot of envy. They have a lot of privilege in their own individual problems. Of course, I mean, being a celebrity and fame itself is trauma. No one's prepared for that. Okay, I only speak about Jesus because he took away my not wanting to live thoughts after battling them on my own after 3 years. The moment I put my faith and trust in Christ, he altered my life in one word. You know, I love that for you. I love that for you. The fact that you were able to have almost like a rebirth and you know, change your life, and if Jesus to you is God. I love that. Infinite are the ways to his abode, okay? There is no one correct way. They're all paths to the truth. The truth is here, right? God is here. For visual sake, for a visual representation, right? Let's just say God's here. Obviously, God's not a thing, right? And obviously God is not just up in the sky. Like I said, just take it as a visual representation. So one way, oh, okay, I go up there towards Jesus, okay, I go here through this way, I go through here, through this path, through this path, through this path, you know, infinite other ways to his abode, okay? Your face is enough to help us because it is giving us positive vibes only. I'm glad. God is here. Where the fuck is God? When my mom died. Interesting. I feel your pain. I feel your pain, Johan. You know, I feel like this is one of the things that you have to be very careful about how you maneuver. And of course, I haven't been through that, okay? I haven't been through that. I don't know what it feels like. I'm not gonna validate. I'm not gonna try and say I know exactly how that feels, or I know exactly the pain that you're going through, because I don't. I don't. Um, all I can say is that it may feel hard to believe, but you are loved, and things happen for a reason. And it's going to look, there'll be resistance within you maybe to believe that, maybe these words feel like empty placations, um oh yay, Johan, woo, happy for you, good, because you know in this book, in Osho's book, right, The True Name, he talks about the story, right? There's this story of this man who has a son, and his son dies, right? And then he just gets on, he just gets on with life the next day. And then his wife looks at him and she's really worried. She says, you really loved your son, why are you not sad? Like, why are you not breaking down right now? Why are you okay? And you know what he said? He said, everything is God's. God gave me my son. I enjoyed so many beautiful years with him. So I made so many beautiful experiences. And now God is taking away what is his, what is hers. I'm grateful for having the experiences of having that person in my life, right? And now if God wills it so, God wills it so, right? We don't possess anything. Nothing is ours. All is happening in God's will. And we don't get that, okay? It's difficult for us humans to understand at times, to see from our perspective. You're making sense. Thanks for understanding. I'm glad. Thank you. It's one of those like situations, like circumstances that I like to tread carefully because I know it's such a sensitive subject. So I'm grateful. Rick. I know there's God somewhere. That's so funny. Sorry to you didn't pick a comment again. Sorry, Brownie, but I'm asking you again in the UK. What kind of student job can find easily, and how the local people behave to foreign students? Okay, I'm not sure because I'm not a foreign student, so I wouldn't be able to tell. I'm guessing everybody's experience is different in life. The way that you are, your energy, the way that you the expectations you have of life will be reflected, will reflect how people treat you. So there's no objective, people treat foreign students like this, people treat foreign students like this. It's to do with you. How are you being? And what kind of student jobs can find easily, I'm not sure. You I'm not sure. Whatever you want to attract in, you can attract in, right? You can just act as you already have it. So what you want, be specific about it, right? I want this job, I want it to pay like this, I want it to be like this, I want the people I work with like to be like this, whatever. And then let it go, and start aligning your life with that. If your job requires you to wake up early, start waking up early. Start showing life energetically that I already have it. I'm grateful for this job. I hope that helped, Brownie. Grief is an emotion we are never given the real tools to manage. It can never be managed through thinking. Oh yeah, for sure. Emotions can't be managed through thinking, right? They have to be felt. They're in the body. It's about feeling and being, and that's about being in your feminine energy, right? And we're going back to feminine energy because I feel it's the law of gender, okay? We discussed this before as well. It's the law of gender. It's not a woman who is just feminine and a man can't be feminine, or it's not about being womanly. It has nothing to do with your sex. It's to do with a state of like mind. It's a state of mind, okay? So your feminine attributes are feeling, right? Being, intuition. So a lot of men are taught to shut down I mean, even women, right? Obviously, it's not limited to any gender, but we're taught not to feel emotions so deeply. For example, when a child is crying, what do you tell it to do? Shut up, stop crying, stop, be quiet, right? So what do you teach the child? You teach the child that there is not enough space for its emotions. So when you get older, you're not going to feel grief. You're going to be like, oh my God, I can't feel this emotion. Repress. How will I go to work? What will my family think? I have to put on a facade. I have to show people I'm okay. I used to do this. When I would be upset, most people wouldn't know because I wouldn't share it. I would hide. I would go into solitude. And then I would come back and be like, oh, look, I'm okay, because I was embarrassed to express my feelings. Because in childhood, they were never, I was told, I guess, was I told, it's not like I can remember being told to shut up and stop crying, but it felt, I think maybe one time I was ridiculed for crying. Um, maybe more than once, and then I just felt like it wasn't okay to cry, so I would just hide that, even as an adult now I feel embarrassed to cry sometimes. And then I have to like work through that. Ben, I love that for you. I'm glad. Watch my comments carefully. End of the message. Like Andrew says you call me. I'm sorry, but I'm sure if we die, we are born again or we become spirits. Yeah, sorry, Rick. I didn't respond to you, but what I think you asked me what happens after we die. So what does the blue dot mean? It's a bindi. It's part of Indian beauty culture. I don't know what to call it, but it's about activating your third eye. So yeah, I mean, there are many things, right? There are many different realities that exist where you you may come back in another life, right, as another human being. If you're enlightened, maybe you don't come back at all. You kind of step out and you just become one with divineness again. Trust me, our girls have been these animals, Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks, Rick. Symbol of beauty. Yeah. God bless. Oh, yeah. Okay, Ben, see, Ben, look, I get it that, of course, I love the fact that Jesus and that path was able to help you, but this is the thing, when we try to impose our beliefs upon someone else and we say, no, this shoe that I'm wearing that fits me so perfectly must fit everybody else. It doesn't work like that, because someone could come and say, no, Islam is the way forward for me. You have to go through that. You have to go through that. Ben, there's only one way. It's Islam, right? What are you going to do? How can you know that yours is the truth? Divinity is available to everybody, okay? Hi, Kunal. By the way, are you a psychologist? I am not a psychologist. Sanatan Dhanam is the oldest, bro. What does the blue dot on your head mean? It is a symbol of beauty. It originates from India, so it's called a bindi. So the reasons behind it is to bring attention to your third eye, which I just love. Don't you think that was cool? Christianity was not the first religion on earth. Do I work as a teacher? I will be soon. Yeah. Yeah, Christianity was not the first religion on earth. Christianity was man-made. Right? The things that Jesus actually stood for and the things that you learn in Christianity are completely different. And besides, I'm pretty sure I think it's Hinduism that's one of the oldest. But there are so many different religions that existed. For example, hi from England, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Herzegovina? A very interesting cause because I've only ever seen Oh, Indian women have red dots. Yeah, you can have any red, black, multicolored. I went to the temple today, so I had a blue suit on, so I wore blue. And I just didn't take it off. The Bible is the most the Bible is the most edited book, right? You have to really, really explore the things that you read and that you believe. Editing. That's what happened. It's heavily edited. Rebirth used to sound like nonsense to me. Now I realize that it's just natural law of the universe, and there's so much more than quantum physics theories that support it. I love that. Could you tell me more about the quantum physics theories that support it, Greg? But you know, I feel like rebirth is something that is available to us at all times. Transformation, change, and I think it's something that we should welcome. Why would you just want to remain like in one way, right? I love transformation. I love growing. I love changing. I love evolving. It's the best. Hello. Hi, Akshat. It's not about religion, it's about relationship. Okay, tell me more. Please take my name, Didi Akshat. What do you mean take your name? What is this live or channel about? Is it about religion or bantering religion? It is not about religion, and it's not about bantering religion either. It is about expanding your consciousness and, you know, just helping people connect back to themselves. And loads of other different things. I mean, we were discussing codependency. Christianity is the most persecuted religion. Why is that? Let's steer the conversation away from Christianity, please, of religion. Khalas, Habibi, khalas, okay? Codependency is interesting, right? Now that I think of it, now that I have the knowledge that I do, because codependency is about relying on things outside of you, whereas the opposite of that would be going inwards into your inner world, right? Because what happens is that codependency, so most people start off as codependent because for example, if you had a parent that was an addict, right, or you were the addict, then naturally a codependent dynamic begins. Because let's say your parent was an alcoholic, right, one of them or both of them, then you felt responsible for them. You felt like, I have to take care of them because then this may happen to them or this may happen to them, right? So this codependency begins. And you know, sometimes like for example with a mother, you know, there was this film that it was like a horror film where the mother was drugging her child, so her child would be disabled and had to be in a wheelchair so that her child would never leave her. She was creating problems so that she would feel worthy. And I feel like maybe this is the kind of dynamic, if I really think about it, that exists with parenthood, right? Because parents feel so responsible for their children, and their children become their life and part of their identity. I'm a mother, you know, I'm a father, I'm a mother. That's just who I am. And when they hold that so closely to them, then control comes, right? A lack of boundaries present themselves. You don't want the child to leave you. You don't want the child to have a partner. For example, you know, all these like there's shows about mommy's boys, right? Where it's a show, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like where these sons, they bring their partners and their mommy's boys, and then it's like there's a feud between the partner and the mother is being very overbearing, and she is, you know, because look, there's a process of de-individuation every person has to go through. It is a part of your developmental stage, okay? You're a child, you rely on your parents, right? You need them for your survival. Then you grow up and you're like, oh, okay, you know, let me explore. Let me explore the world. And then you get to being a teenager and you're like, oh, it's a rebellious stage. You know what? Let me just actually get it up because I want to be correct with it. Can you talk me through the different developmental stages? I want to explain the importance of de-individuation. Okay, right, we're gonna go through them because it is something that most people don't go through, okay? Because they still listen to their parents, even though they're like 40-year-olds. I'm not saying stop listening to your parents. I'm just saying you should have autonomy and control of your own ship. You should be the captain of your own ship. Okay, so what are developmental stages? Developmental stages describe how human beings grow psychologically, socially, and spiritually over time. Therefore, give me a moment. Okay. Stage 1. Egocentric slash survival stage. So, the age is infancy to early childhood. The focus in this stage, in stage 1, is self-preservation, basic needs, and immediate gratification, okay? Because that's what a baby thinks about, right? Survival, I need to get my needs met. This is why babies look so cute. They have to look cute so that they are endearing to their parents, so their parents feel motivated to take care of them. Okay, so their consciousness is, I am separate from the world. What I feel matters the most. This is the consciousness of a child. He just started listening to you now. This is my first time on your channel. Keep doing what you're doing. You're answering some of the stuff that was on my mind. Keep doing what you're doing. Oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you. Okay. So, then we have stage 2. Sorry, actually, let's talk about the importance of stage 1. This stage is important because it forms the foundation for identity. You know how I always say from 0 to 7 is the most important age, time stage in your life, because this is where you form a foundation for identity, for boundaries, and for personal survival. If you have boundaries, then you are less likely to be codependent. If you don't have boundaries, best believe you're going to be codependent. I am not Hindu, no, I don't identify with the religion. I don't live in India, guys. I live in England, hence the accent. Okay, stage 2, tribal slash belonging stage, okay? So the age of this is childhood to early adolescence. The focus on this stage is about acceptance. It's about conformity. It's about fitting in with family, community, or tribe. The consciousness at this point in your life will be, I am part of a group. Rules and norms define me. So you build social skills, moral learning, and you have a sense of belonging. This is why when you go to school, you feel you care more about what your friends think, right? You want to be the cool kid. This is why you want to be accepted by your friends. You feel more sensitive to the to like what the tribe wants you to be like, right? You're just forming your like sense of belonging. This is why you begin to people please, because you're like, oh, I want everybody to be friends with me, because if no one is friends with me, then I don't have a tribe. And that represents death to the nervous system. Yeah, wanting attention is something, that you needed attention to survive, because if you didn't get attention when you were a baby, then your needs aren't being met. And then if your needs aren't being met, you're gonna die. You want me to respond to the comments? I will, but you guys are just talking about Priya subscribe to your channel. Never forget me, bro. I won't, sister. Okay. Next stage, individual autonomy stage. Okay, this happens in late adolescence slash early adulthood. The focus of this is self-definition, independence, personal values. The consciousness of this is, I am my own person. My choices define me. The importance of this stage is that it cultivates self-awareness, personal responsibility, and autonomy. So, of course, we've all gone through this stage, right, where we're teens, late teens slash early adults. We are more rebellious. We want to make our own decisions in life. We want to be respected as autonomous beings. And this is the stage, I believe. So when is the stage that de-individuation happens? Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Being one with your parents. Parents, I think you should. Yeah, you call me bro, didn't you? I'm a girl. Well, I'm a woman, so in self-definition, teenagers will often begin being rude to their parents and distancing them themselves. Oh, interesting. This is a natural process to stop inbreeding. Wow. That is very interesting. With your parents and become autonomous. Okay, so a really important stage in human development is the transition from dependence to autonomy. Okay, in childhood, you are fully dependent on your parents for survival, safety, emotional regulation, and identity formation. In adolescence, you start questioning the world, your parents, your inherited beliefs. You begin testing limits and forming your own opinions. Emerging adulthood, right? 18 to 25 plus, you move into psychological independence. You make decisions based on your own values rather than family expectations. You know, signs that you're becoming autonomous. You no longer need your parents' approval to feel worthy or secure. You can make major life decisions about career, relationships, beliefs based on your own judgments. Boundary setting. You can say no without guilt and establish healthy limits. Self-responsibility. You take responsibility for your success, for your failures, for your emotions, rather than blaming your parents or your upbringing. You have inner guidance. You trust your intuition and inner voice over external expectations. It's not about rejecting your parents. It's about stepping out of their identity imprint and creating your own. You can Healthy individuation allows you to love your parents without needing them to define you. How many of us struggle with that? Okay. Yeah, you can call me sis. Lol, if they're all robots like females. Do I celebrate Lori? Not really, no. Yes, I am Indian. Um, the difference between a girl and a woman would be, I guess, the state, like your mindset and the way you move in the world. It's a girl would be very princess energy, you know, whereas a woman is about stepping into her queen energy, into sovereignty and being empowered, whereas a princess is like, oh, I'm not really there yet, right? Kind of thing. A bit unsure. Okay. So yeah, a lot of people that I see haven't gone through the stage of individuation, right? And a lot of the things mentioned about when you become autonomous, they're the opposite of what I mentioned, of what happens to you when you are codependent. For example, if you're codependent, you probably need your parents' approval to feel worthy or secure. Maybe it's not just your parents, it could be a partner, it could be friends, your social group, it could be your work colleagues, right? Decision making, because you feel codependent, you feel responsible for other people, so maybe you don't make major life choices based on what you want because you don't even know what you want. Because when you're codependent, you don't even know who you are. You are very detached from your own feelings, your own desires, your own wants, your own needs. You're very attuned to other people, extremely attuned. I did not know what I would want, like simple things like what do I want to eat, because it would be, oh, what does everybody else want to eat, what does everybody else want to watch. That's why being alone, when I started truly spending time alone, it was the most peaceful thing ever, because I didn't have to think about anybody else. I could just be like, okay, what do you want to do, Priya? What should we watch? What should we eat? Where should we go? What should we buy? You know, rather than working with someone else's timeline. The thing is, that's the problem. I felt like I had to be alone, away from people to feel that way. But you can have autonomy and still relate to people, right? And still value intimacy and connection and get to a point of interdependence. Because what happens is, most people start off codependent, then you get to an unhealthy stage of narcissism, and then you get to a healthy stage of narcissism / interdependence. You need to get to the healthy state of narcissism, okay? You need to, it feels like narcissism because putting your own words means putting your own needs and desires up here for the first time ever, when you're not used to doing that, when what you wanted and what you didn't like and what you liked was always here, and everybody else's choices and things were here. It feels weird. It is narcissism to an extent, you know, but it healthy narcissism. Being selfish in that way is not a bad thing. You must take care of yourself. What if you taking care of yourself is the best thing for everybody and you? It is, because when you're happy, when you're fulfilled, when your life is full of pleasure and peace and abundance and feeling good, then you radiate that out into the world, right? Answer this, what we call being US. I have no idea. I think being selfish and wanting to do what you want shouldn't be seen as narcissistic, as it's your life is going to be buried alone. So yeah, I agree. You know what? Let me define healthy narcissism. If the thing is, it feels like narcissism. Okay. So healthy narcissism is a balanced sense of self-worth, confidence, and self-love. So it's completely the opposite of the destructive kind. It's very different. It is healthy narcissism is a balanced sense of self-worth, confidence, and self-love that allows you to function effectively in the world without harming others or being dependent on external validation, okay? Whereas narcissism, unhealthy narcissism, is about being dependent upon others, right? On their external validation and maybe harming them. So, key features of healthy narcissism: self-esteem and confidence. You know your worth and talents. You don't need constant praise to feel good about yourself, right? Can you see how this is the opposite of codependence? Codependence is narcissism. Oh my god, it's actually narcissism. Oh, okay, another note. Codependency is a pattern where someone loses their sense of self to meet others' needs, okay? At the expense of others, inflated self-importance, lack of empathy. Okay, so they're kind of, I feel like they're kind of the same, you know, they're two sides of the same coin. Because in one sense, when you're codependent, you lose your sense of self to meet others' needs. But what also happens is that you're like, whoa, okay, I did this for you, I just sacrificed this for you, and now I expect you to do the same thing. See you, Rick. Bye. Lizzie, how long did it take to get that accent? I live in England, so it just happened naturally. A few years, I guess. Whoops. Priya. Yes. What I'm saying aligns. Okay. Can I mute this? Okay, I need to mute myself.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm also fine. Well, actually, I'm calling in the regards of your diesel vehicle with the bridge number YK630WJ.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know there was a recent inquiry that BMW has been suspected to install some strange device into your vehicles, which they have manufactured between 2010 till 2018. So any person who leased it or owns that particular vehicle,
Yeah, I was.
going to be qualified for the claim.
Sorry to interrupt, but my mom, she's not interested. I've spoken to her about this before. Okay.
Is your mom vegan?
Yeah, it's my mom's, so she's not interested. I'm kind of in the middle of something, so I have to go, but have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay. It's a diesel emissions thing. I don't even know if it's real, but I'm not trying to get involved in that. Just be abundance is a personal concept. Yes, it is. Okay, sorry. Priya. Would you ever come back to Punjab again? Yeah, I would. I love Punjab. I have to go now. Okay. I was in Punjab recently. What you're saying aligns with a lot with Buddhist teachings. It can seem like you're taking selfish action when it in fact is better for all. Yes, I didn't know that was in Buddhism, Greg. Thank you for letting me know. But people, I'm just not surprised that people feel the way that they do, and people, you know, people have all these issues, and because life is set up in a particular way, okay, it's set up in a way where it's not working with you. So most of the things in life you need to unlearn. There's nothing, I mean, yeah, of course there is some learning to do because you realize the things you need to unlearn, but USB. I get it. That's a good joke. I'm gonna use that one, okay? But yeah, most things you just need to unlearn. Like, for example, as an Indian woman, right? You know, what you're taught is that you have to listen to your parents, you have to comply with everything, you have to agree with everything they say. You know, if you disagree with them, then you're being a disrespectful child, etc., etc. I mean, even the notion of being called a child, you know, I'm an adult now. I'm no longer a child. Yes, I was your child. I am your child, but you see, language is so confusing. I'm not a child. I'm your offspring. Let's just call it what it is, you know? I'm your offspring. And that's it. Because look, your parents are a vessel through which you come, okay? They don't own you. They don't have any other right over you like that. Love and ownership are not the same thing. I'm not your possession. I'm not a piece of property. I'm not like a car that you can say, go here, do this, do this, do this, you know? I'm a human being. Maybe we're just so used to expressing love. Well, actually, not even expressing love. We think it's love, but it's just ownership. It's possession. I mean, even the whole notion of you know, like a partner. When you have a partner, like that partner is mine, or that's my best friend. You can't have that best friend. They can only be one best friend, or whatnot. You know, it's this whole sense of ownership. Even like, for example, in relationships, you know, there was this thing of, I felt confused about them because I don't want to feel like what I can do is limited. For example, um um you know, emotional intimacy, for example, or forming connection with people. I don't want to that exactly extends to partnerships, right? I don't want to feel, because look, I used to think of this way. This is the normal way, okay, right? This is the script in my head. Of course, it's not the same for everybody. Okay, if I get into a relationship with someone, that's it. They think that I can't talk to other people, right? Other men. For example, here, like Greg, I connect with Greg, right? I speak with Greg. I have a great relationship with Greg. You know, and let's say I'm in a relationship and then someone felt like, no, Priya, I own you. You can't talk to Greg. How dare you talk to Greg? You can't have an emotional connection with anybody else. You can't form a sort of relationship with anybody else other than me. I wouldn't be happy with that, because I am here on my own path in life. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be told who I can form a connection with, who I can't form a connection with. And you know, one thing I realized, so, you know, people like, so there was this situation, right? There was someone at the Gurdwara who works there, who I know, at the temple, right? So, he was making the prasad, right? And there was another woman who came in and she said, you know, I want to do seva, I want to help, can I please help? And she was helping. And then the other guy who used to be the cook in the Gurdwara, he was like, oh, saying to the guy, like, how could you let another woman in? You can't be alone with a woman. It's not okay. And you know what that is? that man himself doesn't trust himself around women or being one-on-one with a woman. It is in you that the problem lies. It's not in other people. Not everybody thinks the same way. Men and women can be together and not have to be like that. Does that make sense? We're not like crazy animals who don't who can't control themselves. And by saying that and holding that belief that all men and women shouldn't be alone together, you are reiterating, you're re-cementing that belief that when men and women can't be trusted. Does that make sense? So the problem was in that guy. He wasn't able to trust himself, and now he imposes and projects his feelings onto other people. And this is something that happens a lot when it comes to this whole like relationship amongst men and women. But do you get it? Like, I didn't want to be constricted in emotional intimacy. I want to be able to connect with people without feeling restricted in that manner. And I feel like that can happen in relationships sometimes. So it was confusing, my like ideas about you know, relationships, about marriage, things like that, because I want freedom. I want other people to have freedom also. I guess it's like it's time to bring in new beliefs about relationships and how they should be handled. One that is away from possession and ownership. And even saying this, it feels like there are going to be people who are like, why? You just want to be free. You just don't want to do this. You don't. Loyalty comes into it or whatnot, you know? The thing is, it's not, when people like open, I feel like polyamory and open marriage, I feel like there's a thing of the emphasis becomes on the sexual aspect of it, right? It's like, oh, you want to be sexually open with everybody, but it's not about that. The emphasis is not even about that. Most of the time it's not even to do with that, because that is not the be all end all. It's about forming bonds with people. Why would you want to limit yourself to just one person, right? Love is infinite. You can love many people. Love is not restrictive. The way that love is filtered out looks different, of course, right? The love that you have for your mother will look and manifest differently. The love that you have for your partner will manifest differently, but it's all love. Love is one thing. Love cannot be defined. It's either there or it's not. Okay, Greg, and that woman and man relationship, how they should behave around each other is prevalent in religious teachings. Yes, exactly. Because religion teaches that the woman is impure, that the woman needs to be controlled. Because I was watching, Greg, you're gonna love this. You know Layla, I mentioned Layla Martin. It's one of her recent podcasts, okay? I think everybody should go watch it. It's about the myth of being a good girl or something like that. It's where religion, especially Christianity, taught about women and how Christianity, not Jesus. Jesus didn't say women are impure or that sex is impure. Christianity, the church wanted to impose this because the church didn't want people to be sovereign in their power. This is why we have all of these problems manifest in this world. This is why we have a really awful relationship with pleasure, right? But yeah, for example, Saint Augustine, right? He used to, you know what, let me just get, I want to get the facts straight. Saint Augustine. Yeah, okay, look. Saint Augustine's life and how it influenced his philosophy and how it influenced Christianity. Augustine lived a hedonistic life in his youth, okay? He enjoyed sex, luxury, and indulgence, often with women outside of marriage. He was intellectually curious and pursued philosophy and rhetoric, okay? Eventually, he felt extreme guilt over his sexual lifestyle and perceived sins. He turned to Christianity and became a devout bishop and theologian, emphasizing sin, chastity, and divine grace. His writings, particularly in Confessions, often link sexual desire with sin. He frames lust as one of the primary human failings. Augustine sometimes associated women with temptation and moral weakness, partly because of his own sexual guilt. Therefore, he emphasized virginity and chastity as ideals. often elevating women who embody these traits and implicitly shaming sexual expression. This has been criticized by modern scholars as a reflection of his own personal internal struggles, projecting his guilt onto moral teachings about women and sexuality. Do I support open marriages? I feel like people... okay, look, I'll be really truthful with you. I don't know enough about them. I'm still learning, okay? I'm still learning about relationships and what feels right. It doesn't feel right to me to be able to control someone. I am someone who values freedom. You are not my piece of property. And it's confusing. Of course it is, because I'm born in a world where seeing your partner as a piece of property is always like, it's romanticized, right? Like, you're mine. Like, when I was younger and I was like a younger girl and like thinking that, someone like a man saying you're mine was like the hottest thing ever. And it's changing. And like, okay, you mentioned Bonnie Blue. What do I think? Do I think Bonnie Blue, what she's doing is right? I think that's not what I'm saying. That's the complete opposite of what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you should just give away your sexual energy like that to random strangers, because it is a very sacred act, okay? I'm not taking away from the fact that it's sacred. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a very, very sacred act. And her engaging with people like that is... Of course it's harming her, because it's an energetic tie that you have to people. You take on people's karma when you connect to them like that. It is something to be valued, okay? You can have an open marriage, I guess, and a relationship where you don't see the person as someone who's your possession, and still value sex as something that is divine. Greg, I get that. The importance of solitude. She's Indian born because she was Indian. She's a completely different person. What's wrong with Charity? I wasn't talking about Charity. It's Chastity. Chastity. Yeah. Semen retention. Okay, semen retention is important because... Okay, am I like really far behind in the comments? No, I'm not. Okay. Semen retention, from what I hear, is really important, right? Because men lose energy through ejaculation. Women lose energy, life force energy, right? Your chi, through their periods. So there is actually a way that women can not have periods, where they can retain that energy and use that energy to supplement their organs and their life force energy, right? Because what happens is, as you get older and older, you have less and less energy available to you, but you still have all of your functions that require the same amount of energy. So you are working in a, it's not surplus, the opposite of a surplus, with less, right? In like, you're in energy debt, essentially. So with men, of course, they should retain it, because that is your life force energy. So when you retain that, you can use that energy and channel it into different things, like your work. Because in the book, Think and Grow Rich, what's the author's name? I can't remember. He was saying how most men don't achieve success until they're 40 because they don't value or hold on to their sexual energy. They're just letting it out. And it's not just with someone. It can be through just ejaculating all the time. Should only be given in marriage, and marriage is exclusive. Marriage is not... Look, marriage is something that hasn't even been around for that long. Societies existed, if you look into anthropology, where it existed outside of this. And the thing is, look, you have been indoctrinated with so much religious dogma that you thinking of a world outside of that is freaking crazy to you, okay? You think I'm a crazy woman who just probably, just wants to be free and just do whatever she wants and be like Bonnie Blue or whatever. I don't know what you're thinking. You may be thinking that, but that's not what I'm trying to get at. But do you see how we go from one extreme to another? without exploring all the other opportunities, without actually looking at what exists, what it means, the way it's translated into life. You know, people in certain countries, right, you can get stoned to death if you cheat or you have sex outside of marriage, before marriage. So why is it that people are willing to risk death, risk being stoned to death, if this is something that we need to repress? It is not something we need to repress and to not talk about. It is something that we need to understand. It is something that needs to be discussed. Gone are the Stone Ages. Gone is being a primitive being who still believes in this religious dogma that is, you know, from where? Where is it from? Did Jesus say this? Who said this? Their bodies are impure, that they have to cover up. And no, I'm not saying women should be allowed to run around naked. That's not the point. I'm just saying, let's explore this. Why is it that as a woman, you feel like your body is impure? Why is the focus always on the woman covering up, on the woman being like this? The problem lies in you, in your mindset, right? But it feels crazy. Look, when I say these things, it feels like your whole world is crumbling, okay? And you will not want to accept it. You will want to resist it. That's fine. That is also fine. You're entitled to do that, okay? Lust is something where your sexual energy is not being channeled in ways that are being productive for you, or helping you, or healthy. If you want to make me a mod, feel free. You know, yeah, I'm gonna make you a mod, Greg. I think, there we go. One. I think I'm God is gone. You know, okay, let's talk about marriage. Marriage is based on the nuclear family. Scientists have built science around the nuclear family, saying that it is a normal thing. But the nuclear family is so, okay, because what the nuclear family does is it takes away you from already for the connections you already have, okay, from your community, from your tribe. People used to live in foraging tribes, okay? People used to be part of communities. They used to take care of each other. Why is it saying it takes a village to raise a child there? Of course it does. But what you do is you take a mom and a dad and you say, right, you have to get married, and then you have children, right? And then the mother and the father have to take care of the child whilst earning a living. The mother will probably stay at home, right? Because most women tend to be housewives. Yes, men do sometimes too, but it's difficult. You don't have that support from other people, right? Other extended family members often, because everybody's living in their own boxes. Women used to live, when you look back in history, they used to live in communities with each other. They used to help each other in childbearing. There was no, this is my child, this is your child. Everybody worked together. This was the village's child. Women don't have access to that anymore. Women are struggling with motherhood. It's difficult. It's unnatural to have to take care of your children by yourself without the support of other women around you, without other people around you. The nuclear family is artificial, okay? The nuclear family feeds capitalism. Research, look into it. Look into the history of it. Okay, let's... So... Okay, bye. See you. Do you do yoga? Yes, I do. I love yoga. Oh, shit. What's it over there? Yoga is very, you may ask me something. You may. Yoga is very, helpful in moving, like, energy around. You know, stuck energy around. Give you some beginner tip for what? Gosh, I've been talking for so long. Yes, if you look into nature, look at the role of the females and look at the role of the males. The females work together, right? See you, Greg. Take care. It's been a pleasure. But yeah, if you look at the lions, the lionesses, they take care of the children, right? They're responsible for the rearing of the children, and then they also teach the children how to hunt and stuff, and they protect the children. Whereas if they left the cubs to the fathers would probably eat them or kill them. The natural way of being is by looking at nature. That is how we used to be. Someone came in and changed the whole system, and now we live in a very unnatural system. This is why so many problems exist. The more in line we are with nature, the better it is. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna call it. Take responsibility or not do a choice, but paying is away nonsense. They will eat their own. Either eat them, kill them or eat them. The lions eat their own offspring or kill them. They definitely kill them. Yeah, lions can and do sometimes kill their own offspring. Okay, they don't kill their own. Females don't kill their own. Rarely eat their own cubs intentionally. So new males take over pride. They will kill any. It's infanticide, right? They'll kill any that aren't his. They'll kill them if they're extremely starving, or mother under extreme stress. If you like marriage, then of course, go ahead. If it works for you, that's wonderful. It just doesn't work for everybody, you know? And that's also okay. Prenuptial agreements. What do I think of prenuptial agreements? I think that's something to consider, for sure. I've not really thought that far into life, but thank you, everybody. I'm gonna call it a day. I have to go do some cooking. It's been a pleasure. Take care. I agree, Spider-Man. Bye. What's your name? My name is Priya.